Obviously, they've got 18 starters returning. They added the Sun Belt Player of the Year. And I've said it since y'all started talking to me. It reminds us, me in 21, we went up to Illinois, and we had our whole team back. And we beat Illinois, and everybody was like, oh, man, they're really good. I'm like, I tried to tell you, we were all back. And
we're getting there.
Early in the year, it's such a – and since then, you have the natural graduation, but you lose your best edge rusher and your best corner, which adds on top of the natural graduation. And you go to the National Football League, and who are the two highest paid players on defense? It's the corner and the defensive end. And ours are going to be fine. We just got to grow them up quickly.
Talk about the offensive line. You mentioned to me on the segment we did yesterday that you really like what Kamar Missouri's doing to kind of get into the rhythm. Obviously, his first chance to play with UTSA, and you've got a lot of new guys out there, and you're missing Vinley this past week, so that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, we really hit on Kamar. He's going to be really good, and Vinley, when we get him back, is really good, and Corey, we've got to get him healthy again. He's really good, and getting Mackay back. And then, losing Luke Lopez was a big loss for us, our starting center, just because of his knowledge of the offense, and he knows what we're doing. CJ's learning it, and he'll be good, but Luke had already played 13 games last year.
All right, let's talk about the quarterbacks. You gave Eddie Lee a shot in the second half, just in relief. You mentioned this week Owen will still start against Texas. How did Eddie Lee do? But talk about the overall play of the quarterbacks, the zone reads, and trying to figure out what plays to check to.
Both of them, made some mistakes. You could tell both of them were on the road, and, we got to help them more. Everybody always wants to talk about the quarterback, but we've got to protect better. We've got to catch better. We got to run the ball better. There's so many things we're not doing as a unit well right now that affect the quarterback. And I promise you, I know everybody wants to go if Frank Harris were here. Even Frank would be struggling right now. We have to help the quarterback position better. And, again, I am the head coach. That's my responsibility, and we'll get this thing fixed.
You still have a long season to go. We're still 10 more weeks of football, including this week. The overwhelming goal every year is to win your conference. You got a couple of weeks to kind of work on things in game situation. And as you were speaking the other day, it's really hard to simulate games, especially games on the road when you're practicing. You can't just put 30,000 at practice and figure out a way to play against that.
Yeah, of all the things I'm furious at myself about is their student section was so deafening. I did not give my kids a good plan coming out. Now, if we catch the ball, we're already out.
Yeah.
Then we got a first down. And Willie McCoy's a very good wide receiver. Willie's going to end up making that catch for us 9 times out of 10. But then we had the penalty, which I took it because I wasn't going to – who cares if you get to delay a game? You're on the 1-yard line.
Right.
So what's a half a foot? I wasn't going to burn a timeout.
Not worth a timeout, yeah.
But then they had a way better call than us on third down. That's on me as well. Our punter actually came out there and nailed that one. We had a 45-yard net, and to me, if there's a play of the game, there's always a few. But when we drove the entire length of the field to make it 7-3, and we were about to score and we jumped off sides.
Right.
That's just a killer, right?
Yes.
And if it's 7-7, is that different than 7-3? No, because on the very next drive, we get a screen where they went 60 yards for a touchdown. And I know I've said it, and everybody probably thinks I'm crazy that I'm more disappointed than my defense because they're the ones that should be helping us and carrying us right now until we get our offense going. And we've done that before in the past. We've done a great job of playing team football and take care of each other. And we always knew, like, some games we were better on offense than defense, and the offense had to do more in this game, i.e. Western Kentucky 2021. Or, there's a couple more in there. We had to just go bananas, snap it as fast as possible, try to score 50, because we weren't going to stop them. Right?
Yeah.
So this game was really a plan of let our defense keep us close. We'll try to score in the 20s somehow. And we just couldn't keep them in the 20s.
And a lot of times it's just one play, like the screen pass for the touchdown. If you can get off the field on third down, and we even saw that in the Kennesaw game where you couldn't get off the field a couple times on third down, you do that, and it takes their offense off the field. So even if you don't score, you're kind of keeping pace in the game.
The 4 holding penalties at the cornerback position, I've never had that in my life. We had 4 holding penalties at corner. those are 4 first downs. Those are automatic first downs. And those are all third down plays. That's just a killer. We're just not good enough yet to overcome that. We had 13 penalties. 10 were accepted. They had 1 that was accepted.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's hard to overcome there. All right, Texas is coming up next, and we'll talk more about them in depth in just a little bit. But this is as good as you're going to ever play, and as you said earlier in the week, the best team UTSA's ever played.
Yeah, they are. They're elite. I mean, you can look at my sheet here. This is just their kids that have the ability to get drafted this year.
All of them.
we think there's 7 on offense and 7 on defense. We've never seen that since we've been here. They've got backups that are young that are going to be drafted very high as well. I mean, that left tackle Banks, Cameron Williams out of Duncanville, the center Jake Majors, the quarterback Quinn Ewers. Wait till y'all see Isaiah Bond, number 7. He is on.
He's the guy that caught the pass against Auburn last year for them. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Moore, the slot receiver, 0. The tight end, 85. The receiver, the running back who didn't even play a senior year in high school. He just went, basically straight to college. He's so good. And defensively, we'll get to all that later, I'm sure. I'd rather not talk about it right now.
We'll wait till the 4th segment for that. All right, we're going to hear from Ronald Triplet coming up in just a bit. Chase Allen, our kicker, is going to be out here in just a little bit as well. We'll get to all of that. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show presented by UT San Antonio, UT Health San Antonio. Every time the Roadrunners score a touchdown and make a 2-point conversion this year, it's an 8-point possession, and one lucky fan wins $888 thanks to Wainwright Injury Attorneys, the official injury attorney of UTSA Athletics. We had several lucky winners last season, so go to the promotions page on the UTSA app and register to win your $888 today. More of the Jeff Traylor Radio Show from Chicken and Pickle on the UTSA Sports Network. your pickup truck in the Ancira Punt for a Pickup contest. Go to the GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. Then you could be one of 3 finalists on the field at the Temple game to punt to win a brand new truck, courtesy of the Ancira family of dealerships and All-American Car Wash. And fans, Texas Farm Bureau insurance members can get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners basketball and baseball games and football games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau insurance member and visit GoUTSA.com/TFB tickets to learn more. We're joined by kicker Chase Allen on the broadcast this evening. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very well. Let's take us through the first couple of games. And didn't have a lot of chances last week to kick field goals or extra points, but got the leg to a couple of them. And I know you wanted to kind of have a little better game than what you did in the Kennesaw game. So kind of take us through your season so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to have a worse game than that Kennesaw game. So it was definitely good to kind of get back in the swing of things, make a field goal, see you go through the uprights. It gave me all the confidence in the world.
Talk about, we don't play in wind in the Alamo Dome unless you can feel the air conditioning from one end or the other. But talk about playing in the elements outdoors, where you had a pretty big win last week against Texas State, and you may have this weekend at Texas.
Yeah, the main thing with dealing with the elements is you just have to kind of draw a line pre-kick that factors in the wind. So if it's left or right, obviously you want to aim a bit more left so it kind of carries it toward the middle. But I don't think the factors in the wind is too big of a deal, at least for the field goal side of things. But kickoff and punt, I think it definitely plays a bigger factor.
You have a good room with all the other kickers and punters there, and to have Tate Sandell, who's doing so good at kickoffs, really take some pressure off of you.
Oh, yeah, that kid's a stud. I love having him in the room. Me and him have a great relationship, and we both have goals, and we push each other. It really is a good environment.
All right, Jeff, brag about your kicker a little bit and what you liked about him, and we'll talk about his Alabama days in a minute, but he comes here last year and takes over the kicking duties.
His high school coach and I were really good friends, Joe Willis. And Joe reached out to me about Chase and said he was, in the portal and looking for a place to go. And he knew I was losing my guy and thought I would really enjoy Chase. And Joe was exactly right. Chase is a tough-minded kid. He handles adversity very well. And, he got off to a rough start last year, in different but similar, and he bounced back immediately against Texas State. And the staff was a little concerned again this year. I'm like, look, this dude did the same thing last year. And now it was funny. I went to talk to Chase about it, and just like Chase, which is why I love him so bad. He pushed back like, now wait a minute, I didn't even get to kick in the game. I'm like, well, crap, no, because you freaking missed the extra point in pregame, and your back was hurting so bad. But that's what I love about Chase. He's just a competitor. He speaks his mind. He's strong between his ears. And it did not shock me when my freshman punter was cramping, supposedly because of, in my opinion, the wind in his face. And Chase goes out there, just takes the ball, just starts booming the thing as a punter.
You had to go in and punt. Talk about that this past week.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Talk about a rush. The last time I had punted was my senior year of high school, so getting to go back out there and do that was really fun. That was brought me a lot of enjoyment.
All right, you spent some time at Alabama. Talk about what you learned there. Nick Saban was there. Just the way that things are done at Alabama during your days there.
In one word to sum it up, intense. Coach Saban was a very tough guy to play for, especially with his expectations for a specialist. I also had the privilege of sitting behind Will Reichard, who, that guy's an absolute weapon, and kind of getting to learn his mindset. I think that's why nowadays not as much bothers me, because I got to learn from him, and I was in such a high-pressure situation that you really had 2 options, to crater or rise to the occasion. And I like to say I did my very best to rise to that occasion and carry that with me now.
All right. You want to expand on that a little bit?
No, I agree totally. I think I could be wrong, but I don't know the exact stats last year, but it seemed like he's 18 out of 21, 22, 23, something really. We've been so blessed, to have Duplessis hand it off to Sackett, hand it off to Chase. That's a head coach's dream. When the ball is, for me, if the ball is on the 33-yard line and I got those guys kicking, I'm putting it down.
It's easy decision.
And we're kicking. And I really wish I'd have given him a chance from the 38 because he had started rough. I didn't want to ask him to go to 55, and I really didn't want to put Tate out there in front of him when he, you know what I mean. So I went for it on 4th, and you always beat yourself up when you don't give a kid a chance with the wind at his back to go from 55. I think either one of them would have made it, in my opinion. I'm mad at myself.
Well, McCarthy wouldn't let the guy kick from 71 the other day in the Cowboys game, so I guess you haven't gotten too far out of hand there.
Well, 71 is not 55.
He made it from 66 though, and then they
It is
wiped it
crazy.
off.
It is crazy.
Yeah. All right. You've been in Bryant-Denny Stadium before in the SEC and all that, and you're going to get a taste of that this week at DKR. I think athletes today relish this opportunity. Who cares who's the underdog? You kind of just if you can't get up for these games, you're asleep, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think especially as a specialist, you live for these kind of moments. That's the reason you play college football, is to be on the big stage and show what you can do. So I mean, I'm ecstatic for this weekend. I really am.
What's it like? Is there any? Do you even do you see the people? Do you feel the noise? Do you feel the intensity when you're there in front of 100,000 as opposed to 20 or 30 or 40?
The noise, yeah, but as far as like the crowd, I really don't look around while I'm out there kicking. I just am honed in on my task, my goal. I pretty much stay looking at the uprights, my holder the whole time. But yeah, as far as like the noise, you definitely do hear it a little bit, but I try not to get too into the crowd.
What are your thoughts, this team going forward? Obviously, you want to bounce back from this past week, and 10 more games, including this one this weekend, and plus the postseason. So this team's got a lot to play for still, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think we have a lot that we have to show still, and we got a group of guys that are bought in, love each other. I mean, I'm not worried one bit about our future. As far as the personnel we have, everyone's bought in, they love each other. I mean, it's a great atmosphere.
All right. Thanks, as always, for stopping by. Best of luck to you. Hope you're in the NFL someday as well. I know everybody else does. I know you do, too. And keep making field goals, and if you have to punt, keep punting like you did.
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
Good job, Chase.
All right. That's Chase Allen. We'll hear from Ronald Triplet coming up in the next segment. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org. radio show. UT Health San Antonio is the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. See how UT Health San Antonio's brightest minds are making lives better at WeMakeLivesBetter.org. And you can compare HEB prices to any store. They check and compare thousands of prices on the things you use to gear up for the game, so you can fill up your cart without emptying your wallet. When it comes to UTSA football, no store does more than your HEB, a proud supporter of UTSA Athletics. Ronald Triplet joins us from the UTSA defense. Welcome to the show. How are you? Let's see if I can't hear Ronald. Is his mic up?
Oh, you can't hear me?
There we go. Now we got you.
I say I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being out here. All right, let's talk defense. What have you guys worked on this week to correct the mistakes and the stuff that you didn't like at Texas State?
The big thing was really just the MAs and flying to the ball and really just playing for each other. That's really one thing that we're trying to focus on this week.
What do you think went wrong? How do you where did you kind of you evaluate that film on Sunday and a little bit this week, and where were the issues?
Well, it's just really the MAs. That's really the big thing. Just doing our 111. Everybody doing their 111, not just a couple of us. Everybody.
What he means by MAs, I mean the acronym means missed assignment, right?
Yeah.
And so literally, like, I don't want to go through every call because they're just like offensive calls, but people don't really understand defense that way. So I'm not going to give you the exact play call, but like whatever their pressure is, if he's supposed to fit in the B, the linebacker's in the A, and the defensive end's in the C. And there were multiple times where good players that have made plays for us for years, just in their excitedness, went in the wrong gap, and Texas State found it. Every single time we had a mistake, they exploited us on that, and good for them by playing great.
All right. I think you're kind of the underrated guy on this defensive line, especially when you look at the years you've been here. It seems like every game we make a play, we call your name on a play. You're either causing a tackle or creating a space where somebody else can make the tackle. But how do you handle the anonymity that maybe you have with all the other defensive linemen that you have? Because you've made a bunch of plays for UTSA over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here for the past 4 years, and I kind of understand, like, we rotate three deep. So it never really just – I don't think I'm an underrated guy. Like, everybody in the building know what I do. I work hard. I know what I do. So as long as I just go out there and just play for my team, I mean, the plays I make, they just come to me. Like, I don't do nothing extra to just do them. So
talk about that whole room and all the things that go on there. You know, all the players. It's kind of a fraternity with inside the family of UTSA football.
Yeah, we just like a family, man. I mean, we just all love each other. We've been playing with each other for a while now, and I've been knowing a lot of them guys since high school. So it's just the love that we got for each other in that room, and the coach too. So
how do you help one another? You see something, you point it out. How does that work?
We hold each other accountable all the time. In the film room, somebody, if something bad, not bad happened, but if something happened, we'll laugh at it, joke at it. But at the end of the day, we hold him accountable, and he know that. So.
All right, Jeff, talk about Ronald, the person that you've gotten to know over the years and what he's been to this defense.
Well, this is funny. I just found out the other day. Let's just talk about, let's reverse engineer this. In high school, everybody said he was too short, too small, too this. And we tried to get him out of high school, and he went to K-State. But then he realized how far away from home he was, and he was
cold up there
ready
too.
to come back. And we took him with open arms. And still, that's what people are going to say. He's too small, he's too short, blah, 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 blah. And all he does is make plays. But it's because of his IQ, it's his character, his discipline. And I really thought he was gone. I was sure he was like the rest of the defensive linemen. They were out of here. And I asked him the other day just to make sure. He's like, no, Coach, I got one more year. I'm like, praise the Lord. Because he's a really good football player. And he's the epitome of the triangle of toughness. You never have to worry ever about Tripp showing up. And that's why we try to celebrate these kids and still give them T-shirts and honor them with the triangle of toughness of the award. Just because you lose and we play that bad doesn't mean everybody played bad. And Tripp had a great game Saturday.
All right, talk about going to Kansas State and then saying, hey, it's too cold up here. I got to go home.
Honestly, it was I was just young. I just made a decision that I probably should have never made. I didn't think everything through. But, I mean, God put me in those places for a reason, and I learned a lot out there. And for Coach Traylor letting me be able to come back here was a blessing. So
it's a blessing for me, too.
Yeah.
I'm glad to take you back.
I'm happy to be back home. So.
All right. Let's talk about the matchup with Texas, and I'll call it an opportunity to go to DKR and play up there. You were there a couple years ago, so here's a chance for a return visit.
They got a great squad. They got a great team. Great coaches. We just got to come and play. We just got to be ready. We can't let the moment be too big for us. So I think we'll do good. So we've been practicing hard. We've been defense. We've been at it. So
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
I think I was talking with somebody today. I don't think players get intimidated anymore. If you go back in a time machine 20, 30 years ago and a smaller school is playing a bigger school, there may be an intimidation factor. You've been to Kansas State. You've seen big games, and you've been places. So there's no fear. You may not beat them, but you're not going to be afraid of them.
Nah, I'm never going to be afraid. No, not at all.
Just their O-line is just – everybody's O-line is 6'6", 315, 310.
Right.
Everybody. There's only a few 6'6", 310s, 335s, 330, 320 that move like tight ends and running backs. And these guys, that's where they've got us, right? They're just extremely well coached. They're extremely athletic. They're first or second round draft picks. But there's no one I'd rather put up there than our D-line because our guys are veteran. They're tough kids. And they'll get after them the best we could possibly get after them.
And you relish that opportunity to do that, right? Talk about that challenge that because they're going to play 9 other opponents after this week, and everybody, you can judge how you did against them based on what you do in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great line, but we got to focus on what we can do. Like, we can't really worry about what they got, how they are. It don't matter who line up between us. We just got to get ready to play whoever. It could be the NFL. Like, we got to get ready, you know what I mean? Like, seriously, though, like, they're a good O-line, but we're a good D-line, too. We've been playing with each other for a long time, so we got chemistry, and we'll be ready.
And just the opportunity to play there and to have a chance at the end of the game, that's what you play for. We saw Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame last week, so if not that you expect that, you just go in there and play hard and see what happens at the end, right?
For sure. Anything's possible, so.
What about the rest of this season, this defense continuing to mature? I know there was a lot of times in the past where Jeff would go for it on 4th and 1 and usually make it, but he was telling that defense, if we don't, you got us.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. Whatever Coach Traylor. But, hey, we riding with Coach Traylor, so.
And you guys, I mean, I know a lot of people think the triangle of toughness is a cliche, but you guys really live it. I think that's really important.
We live that. That's going to be with me forever after college. So
you going to take that with you?
Definitely. I tell my girlfriend all the time, like, those are real life skills he gives us. So,
so when you have kids, you're going to teach them about the triangle?
Definitely. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being out here. Good game against Texas this weekend, and look forward to seeing you make more plays. We'll notice you. The rest may not, but we're going to certainly notice you.
Appreciate you, man.
All right. That's Ronald Triplet, UTSA defensive end. Bud Light. Enjoy Bud Light while cheering on the runners. Bud Light is the official beer of UTSA athletics. Birds up, buds up all season long. And we're out here at Chicken and Pickle, where you can have great fun and great food. The Chicken and Pickle, delicious food, cold drinks, yard games, and pickleball for all. It's Chicken and Pickle at UTSA Boulevard and Vance Jackson. North Park Subaru's TTE for Charities. All right, before we talk about Texas, and that's the juggernaut that's in front of us, we do a segment on this show every week where we honor our heroes. It's brought to you by USAA, and I thought, Jeff, since this is the anniversary of 9/11, that the heroes that came out from that day, and just generally speaking, our first responders and police and all that deserve a shout out on this day. And I know where I was that day. I'm sure you do too, and trying to get ready probably for a football game, and that got interrupted, and we postponed things for a while. But certainly a sad day for America, but today is the 23rd anniversary of that.
Yeah, back then, I was an AD, head football coach at Gilmer, and we hadn't built our new facility yet. So I was actually, my office was in the high school, and it was across from one of the accounting rooms. And I remember my high school principal came in that day and said, Miss Betty Smith's not going to be here for first period. I need you to be the substitute teacher during first period. Now, I've never substitute taught one time in my life, but that day I was the substitute teacher, and in her class she had like 6 TVs up, and we just had the TVs on, because when you're the substitute teacher, you're just stalling for time till the teacher gets there. I mean, I'm the football coach. I don't know anything about accounting, right? And I remember them flash into CNN or Fox, whatever it was, and seeing those planes go in the towers. And I remember everybody in the room, just all of us were just like, what is this? And the scared feeling. And believe it or not, we practiced football that day, which is crazy. You know, I remember playing Hemp Hill and Stephen F. Austin State University that Friday night. And both teams came out with American flag. And I remember the national anthem, like there wasn't a dry eye in the house. Like the hair on the back of everybody's neck was standing straight up. And I remember that just so vividly. Now, I'll keep talking. I have a player on my team named Ronald Link Milan. His father was killed at the Pentagon, and Ronald was inside his mother at the time, who also worked at the Pentagon. She was on the other side of the building. He was there, so he lost his dad. He never got to know his dad. But his story is on our football site today if you want to find that. He tells me he looks just like his father. It's a really cool story. I've got a strength staff member named Sean, my biggest one I got. He's about 6'5", 330 down there. His dad and uncles were first responders. And his dad had an eerie feeling that day and didn't send his son to school or his brother to school. And so they were home that day, and he remembers his dad and uncles being the first responders and going up there and working all day saving people. And we went over all of it today in our meeting, and there wasn't a dry eye in our room. I mean, every kid in my room, nobody on my team was even born.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe a couple. But it was a very emotional day for all of us. I'm an ex-history teacher, so I'm always going to teach on current events. And that was our current event we went over today.
Those are awesome stories right there. USAA honors the heroes who serve in our military, is the official military appreciation sponsor of UTSA. We have 2 heroes that were joining us tonight. And, of course, we salute all the heroes out there that are taking care of us each and every day. All right, let's get to the task at hand. It's Texas. Quinn Ewers is the famous guy, and they got every place else after that. They're just loaded, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Quinn's. I mean, he played for a very good friend of mine at South Lake Carroll and Riley Dodge. Riley's loved Quinn forever, and he's really good. You know, all these kids played at storied programs in the state of Texas, and arguably the best team in the country. And there's no embellishment there. I think I've always tried to tell you guys the truth the best I could about what we're fixing to play. We've never played anything like this in our 5 seasons here. I haven't. I'm not aware of the 8 seasons before me.
It hasn't happened.
But this is the greatest gap there's ever been between our talent level and the opponent we're playing against.
Offensively, obviously it starts with Quinn, but what do they do so well? Offensive line's massive, and they can move too.
They're so athletic. It's literally like Sark is playing a video game, and he's really good at video. He's a really good coordinator. He's a great play caller, and I'm happy for those guys. It's good for our state when that university's playing well. It's just unfortunate they're playing well, and we got to play them.
Yeah, defensive line is huge, and again, 4'6", 4'7" guys that can fly all over the place. So they're not just standing there taking up space. They can track you down too.
Yeah, and their backups are just as good. I mean, and you're looking at my sheet. I mean, I usually have 3 to 5 yellow marks on the entire sheet, and I'm counting 26 yellow marks, and that's not all starters. There's a lot of backup.
Yeah, that
and,
26 can't start.
And so, yeah, they're really good.
Steve Sarkisian, I'm sure you're aware of him and have had maybe some interaction with him in the past. I don't know, but learned a lot from Nick Saban, had some head coaching experience elsewhere, and he's really done a remarkable job there in just a couple of years.
Yeah, he's been doing it a long time. You know, he's head coach at Washington, head coach at USC, head coach at Texas, worked for Pete Carroll, worked for Nick Saban. He's got a very impressive resume, and he's done a fantastic job.
We talked to the players about playing in the atmosphere of DKR and the history of that arena, and now that it's expanded to 100,000, what's it like to coach there?
It's the loudest experience we've ever had. You know, I coached there for a few years, and it's just so changed. It's like a rock concert every single snap until the ball snap and they stop. Yeah. It's just so deafening. And when you pull up, it's like you're going to the state fair. I mean, they got stuff, kids playing on more toys and tricks and jumping things and swings. And, you know, what Mr. Del Conte has done there is remarkable. They have really upped their game, and they're at a pace right now that it's be really hard to keep up with.
Last year when we were at Tennessee, I remember you telling us that you played a lot of players intentionally because of the physicality difference. You didn't want to get players hurt by just overplaying them. Is that any part of the mindset going into this game? Do you still play that 24-25 on offense and defense?
We pretty much do that anyway, but we might get a little deeper in the bench. You know, we lost 18 kids 3 seasons ago after this game because it's just so physical. And I learned a lot from that day. You know, we didn't lose 18 versus Tennessee, and we came back and played very well against Temple. We can't get our roster decimated. They'll have to help us. They'll have to turn the ball over, and we'll have to play perfect. And things happen. Things happen. I'm not going to tell you that they can't happen. But it's going to take that for us to have a chance.
Well, I remember after this game, you called Walker Beatty at 1 o'clock in the morning and said, "Can you play offense for me?"
Yeah, we were out of people. I mean, you remember we'd already lost Mackay.
Yeah.
And then the third snap of the game, Meach tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And we put Frankie at right tackle, and somehow we lost our left tackle. I'm forgetting who that is right now. And we kicked Vinley to left tackle, who was a guard. Yeah.
You were just running all over the place looking for bodies.
And then this year, you know, we got Mackay out, we got Vinley out, we've got Big Corey out, and we lost Luke Lopez for the year at center. We are just, you know, and I always have somebody chart the other team, their starters before the game. And every week it seems like they say all 22 of their guys are here, and I'm like, how does that happen? Like, when am I going to ever have that where Andy says to you, hey, all 22 of your guys are back?
Exactly. All right, one more segment to go with Jeff coming up. Thanks to BMW, one lucky fan will win the ultimate home game weekend at the Alamo Dome at our home finale versus Temple on November 22nd. One lucky fan will get a luxury stay at the historic Maverick Hotel downtown, 2 premium game tickets, a BMW prize pack, and dinner as they cruise the city in a gorgeous new electric BMW X7 SUV. Be sure to check out GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. It's the BMW Ultimate Home Game Weekend. And save time after the game by ordering Taco Cabana online at TacoCabana.com on the MyTC loyalty app. Sign up for great rewards and exclusive offers only at Taco Cabana. We'll come back to wrap things up with Jeff next on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. Station partner USAA would like to take a moment to thank all service members, veterans, and their families listening today for your service and sacrifice. USAA serving the military community and their families since 1922. And Texas Farm Bureau insurance members can get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners football, basketball, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau insurance member today, and you can go to goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. All right, we normally do a drive of the game brought to you by Goodwill. We'll shorten that this week to a couple of plays of the game. One in particular I liked was obviously Zach Morris's pick. That got you an opportunity to score early on. Talk about him on the roster this year.
Yeah, Zach's a highly intelligent young man, a great character kid, and great pickup for us. And that was a big play and really crushed we didn't capitalize off of it. Came out, had a great running play on first down, 2nd and 3, and hindsight being 2020, we tried to score on the second play of the game. We should have just ran the ball 4 times. And anyway, if you go back and study the game, of our first 13 run calls, we had 9 in there where we were gashing them, and we were spitting the balls out on RPOs. And we've got to get where we're an RPO team and not a PRO team. And it's got to be run-pass option, not pass-run option.
Is that just the quarterback reading the defense?
The throws were there, too.
Yeah.
I mean, in his defense. I mean, it would be tough for him to know because we had a good box and we had good numbers both places. And each spit he threw was for 7, for 6, for 5, for 8. But then your fan base is like, you're not running the ball. And, or your coaching staff's like, you're not running the ball. Or maybe even Andy, for all I know. I know the head coach is feeling like, why don't we hand this thing off some? We've got to get that down. It's a fine balance.
Right.
And we're extremely heavy in the RPO game, as we always have been, because it gives you an option no matter what. I mean, if the box is loaded, you have a way out. If the box is light, we were getting a bunch of in-between boxes. And an in-between box, you should be able to do good in both, and we just couldn't sustain it.
You got a lot of good running backs. You played 6 again this past week. What's the thought going forward? Do you shorten that, or do you want to get them all an opportunity to play?
No, we don't want to play more than 3 or 4, but that game had gotten out of hand, so the second half we decided to expand, play for the season, and get a bunch of more guys out there.
And it's good to have that depth there because
we're going to need them, man.
A few years ago you had Sincere, and that was it.
I know everybody, just wants to just win all of the games in September, but I promise you October's coming, November's coming, and December's coming. And we'll all get over this one if we're winning like we always do. Now, I understand it's going to sting for a long time, but we'll be feeling a lot better in September and October, November, and December if we get going.
How do you use a game against Texas and next week against Houston Christian to get you ready for conference? Because at the end of the day, winning your conference is going to determine your postseason fate anyway.
There's no doubt. And we've got 2 great opportunities to prepare for East Carolina because of all the home field advantages. Texas State's an incredible home field advantage. Texas is a home field advantage of like undescribable. And then you go to East Carolina where they average 38,000. They'll probably have 50,000 there that night. It's a tough place to play on the road. And
hard to get to, too.
And we got to find a way to get better in the next 2 weeks.
All right, you got Mekhi Hart a few snaps. It was great to see him back on the field. How would you rate his ability right now as he comes back, and how much would you want him to play in the Texas game?
Well, he almost died because he was on the field when we drove it all the way down there. So he was almost in a full body cramp for playing that many snaps in a row. He's practiced very well this week. I think he'll be able to get some more snaps. How many, I don't know what that looks like. We will not play him the full game. We'll try to keep progressing him.
How much is JT lobbying you to get in this game at Texas?
He's not going to be able to. I mean, he practiced yesterday, and he looked good, and he just couldn't go today. His leg was just too sore. He will not play Saturday.
All right, and then another deep room is that wide receiver room, so we're seeing some good things there. You mentioned Willie McCoy earlier, just a really good talent there to complement McEwen and the others.
He missed 8 weeks, which is why you see the knee brace. He's playing his way back into shape. He hurt that thing this summer, and Willie's going to be fine when he gets well, and we got to get Amador back. I mean, Amador has been injured, and we need to get him going. We'll pick Danye back up soon. We hope he can go Saturday. We need to pick Vinley back up. We need to get Corey going again. And those are some key pieces missing right now we need to get back.
All right, as we look to keys to the game, where do you start when you have to go against arguably the best team that we've ever played? Obviously, I don't think that's arguably, but right now the best team in the nation too.
Well, as long as we've been here, we've hung our hat on being able to stop the run. We didn't do that very well Saturday. We've got to go in there and bow up. And as good as they are, we've got to be great at stopping the run. We've got to establish our running game. I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row we've not been able to do that. This is a really bad week to try all this stuff again, but we got to get that done. And then our teams, man, those guys are really good. Man, Coach Banks has done a fantastic job with those guys, and we'll have to really kick it and cover. And we haven't punted well this year, and we got to keep working at that.
And I don't know, I haven't looked at temperature-wise, but how was the heat at San Marcos, and would you expect something similar when we go to Texas?
Yeah, it's going to be hot. We're in Texas. We call it a break. I mean, I think it's only like 93 or whatever it was.
At least it's at night.
And, so it won't be 100, but, it's still hot.
When a lot has been made about the reunion with Trey Moore. He's playing for Texas now and doing well there, but I know that he's still a very special player in UTSA history and for you as well.
Yeah, it's just you got to wrap your mind around the new college football world. This is what it is. That's why you got to celebrate the trips of the world.
Right.
You got to celebrate
Joe
those
Evans.
guys 4 and 5 years. You're coaching them, ligging 5 years. You better enjoy those guys. And Trey's one of our own, Smithson Valley, San Antonio kid, and I'm happy for Trey. And he handled it right. Him and his father came in my office. I didn't find out about it on social media. They sat down, talked to me, looked me in the eye, made their decision. They thought that was what's best for Trey.
Yeah, and I'm sure have you seen him on film and what he's done for Texas?
Oh, yeah.
He's still the same old Trey Moore, right? Only bigger?
Yeah, he's bigger and faster and stronger and better version. He's getting older. He's a good player.
All right. Thanks, Jeff, as always. We'll look forward to the game this weekend and be back out here next week. Have a great game on Saturday.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. And ladies, I apologize. God bless. Birds up.
All right. That's Jeff Traylor, coach of the Roadrunners. By the way, that play of the game brought to you by Goodwill of San Antonio. They take your donations and turn them into careers, training, and education for those in need. And we fuel the San Antonio economy. Your Goodwill donation can get you free tickets to UTSA games. Bring your gently used clothing and household items to Goodwill today. We'll see you on Saturday at 4 o'clock for the Credit Human pregame show and the Kick at 6 from DKR. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network.